I'm Diane and welcome to GLP-1 Chronicles. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, thanks for coming back. So today is July 1st and I have decided to take on a 60-day challenge. Not like 75 hard or 75 soft or anything like that. It's kind of my own challenge that I came up with, and I feel like I've been drifting a bit. I haven't been tracking my macros. I've really just been slacking off, and I want to take the next 60 days to sort of refocus myself and get myself back on track. So I've come up with 6 things that I want to do every day for the next 60 days to focus both on my general health and my mental health. So I thought I'd go through each of the 6 things and my reasoning behind them. First, I want to get back to tracking all of my food intake. This is something I've really slacked on lately, and I still don't do well with portion sizes. I loathe weighing and measuring my food and tracking everything, but it's the only way I've been successful, and I really need to get myself back to doing that. I have decided, however, I know that usually about once a week or so, we do a very long bike ride. I'm talking 25, 30, sometimes 40 miles. On those days, I'm not going to track my food because while I'm on the bike, I think I've explained this before in other videos, while I'm on the bike, I have to eat in order to maintain my energy to do these like 3 or 4 hour bike rides. So trying to track all of that while I'm riding is just too much. So on those days where we do the really long bike rides, I am not going to track my food. Like I said, it's usually at most once a week that I do that. I make myself pancake bars, and I eat just, I just have to keep up my carbs and things like that just to keep the energy up for these long rides. And we usually stop at a coffee shop at some point along the route, and we get something to eat there or something to drink, and I can't really, it's very difficult to track that. So I just, for my own sanity more than anything else, on days that we do the really long bike rides, when I know I'm expending a lot of energy and I'm burning a lot of calories, I'm going to give myself some grace and not worry about tracking food. The rest of the time, every other day, no matter what other kind of workout I'm doing, whether it's a gym workout, whether it's pickleball or anything like that, I am going to track all of the food that I eat. The second goal I want to do during this challenge is either make sure I do 7,500 steps a day or 30 minutes of intentional movement. Right now I'm kind of averaging about 5,000 steps a day, which I know isn't nearly enough. I do have a job where I sit at a desk all day. And I have been trying more and more to get up during the day and move around and get additional steps in, but I'm still averaging about 5,000. So I think doing 7,500 a day will be a good jump. It's not too much, but it's significant. On days that I can't accomplish that for whatever reason, if something happens or whatever, I want to try to get at least 30 minutes of intentional movement, whether that's, lifting weights, playing pickleball, riding my bike, do a short bike ride, just something every day. And I'm not going to, I will take days where I'm stepping back and not doing like intense workouts to give my body some rest. On those days, I will try to get like the 7,500 steps. If I can get both in the same day, that's great. But I'm not gonna stress myself out too much about it. If at least I get one or the other every day, I'm gonna count that as a successful completion of one of the challenges. The third thing on my list is I want to put aside time, 15 minutes every day, to read. Now, I work as an editor. This may not sound like a difficult thing to do, but I work as an editor, and so I'm reading scientific manuscripts all day at work, and I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. And I think I've actually, it may sound weird, but I don't read these papers to understand them. A lot of them are very technical, and I'm not a scientist by trade, and so I don't understand all of the ins and outs of these papers. But my job is to go through and check spelling and grammar and flow, and make sure things are cited correctly, that references are cited within the paper, and make sure that, you know, just all of these little components to make sure that the manuscript that we publish is complete and accurate, and there are no errors, obvious, like grammar or, you know, spelling or whatever errors. So it's very intensive, and I feel like my brain over the course of these 30 years has sort of rewired itself. So I had trouble actually just picking up a book to read normally, because my brain is so focused on a certain way of reading to do these papers that I found it was hard to turn my brain off and just relax and read. So even though it says, you know, 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, it's, for me, it's a bit of a struggle. I have been trying to do this recently. One, so I'm not doom scrolling on my phone all the time. And I've actually read several books over the past month or so, which probably, I've read more books in the past month than I've probably read in the past 20 years. So right now I'm in the middle of reading Chanel Miller's book, Know My Name. And I've read other, you know, and I read, what else did I read? Jennifer Weiner's Griffin Sisters was one of the books I read. So I'm kind of trying to read a bunch of different things. I'm not going to specifically make, I know 75 Hard makes it a sort of a self-improvement book that you have to read. I'm just going to read, because for me, this is something new, and this is a challenge for me to do because I haven't been doing it for so long. So 15 minutes a day, just put it aside, sit down, read as much as I do in that 15-minute span, check that off the box. Okay, the fourth thing on my list is I want to practice an act of self-care every day. Women particularly seem to put others ahead of ourselves, and I think I need to just find one little thing a day for myself. For example, like I said, today's July 1st when I'm filming this, and my self-care act for today is I'm getting a haircut. Desperately needed. That's why my hair is back, because it's a mess. But that could be something as simple as picking up a chai latte, you know, painting my, you know, doing my nails, you know, whatever it is, skincare routine, just something every day that's just for me. Number 5, there is so much negativity out in the world, especially on social media. People have, I don't want to say decided, but there are some people who have decided that being cruel is acceptable. And I'm not one of those people. So I've decided what I want to do is at least once a day on social media somewhere, spread some positivity to someone else. It may not be anybody I know. It may be just a comment on a YouTube video. Maybe it's a comment on an Instagram post. Something to spread positivity, spread encouragement, cheer someone on, whatever they're dealing with. I've stopped spending tons of time on social media. I used to consume it all day, every day, and it brings me down. It affects my mental health because there's so much negativity, and it's not good. And I want to do, in my little corner of the world, be a more positive person, spread more positivity, do what I can to make things better for someone else. And, you know, it may not be someone I know that I do this for. It may be somebody that I do know, but I want to do one comment, just something every day online to help someone know that that not everything is negative all the time. It's not okay to be cruel to people, whether you know them or not. It's not okay to try to bring others down. It says, when someone does that, it says more about that person than it does about the person that they're directing their anger or negativity towards. And that's how I always look at it. And it really bothers me when I see someone being intentionally cruel in a comment. And it shouldn't be acceptable. So I'm not letting it be acceptable in my life. And if I get negative comments, I shut them down as much as I can. And I think we all need to take a step back and not just shoot off some sort of negative, cruel comment to make ourselves feel better, because that's all that is. It's not anything about the person that you're making the comment about. So let's all try to spread a little more positivity. So this is my way of doing that. My little corner of this internet, this little world that we have, this little online world that we have. This is my attempt to try to make it a little bit better. Okay, and the last thing on my list, I don't drink enough water. And I find that if I drink too much water, I get a headache. So I don't want to drink half my body weight in water or whatever it is, but I want to try to get in more fluids every day. And so what I decided, my last goal for this challenge, is to drink 8 ounces of water when I first get up in the morning, because I usually don't drink anything for an hour or two before I get up, after I get up. And I think I need to change that. So 8 ounces of water when I get up. I can drink it when I take my pills in the morning, and get 8 ounces before I even leave the house in the morning. So what do you think? What do you think of my goals? I think they're achievable. I think they're positive, and I think they're going to set me up for success, get me back on track, and allow me to do things, accomplish other goals that I want to accomplish. So for the next 60 days, starting today, I'm going to do these 6 things. I was trying to find some sort of tracking thing online so I could keep track of it, and I found these little printables from SaturdayGift.com. I will link the website in the description box if you're interested. But I found these really pretty habit tracker. Let's see if you can see how pretty they are. That's one. This one, I think this is the one I'm going to use. But then there was sort of a different one that's kind of like the same, slightly different. And these are 31-day trackers. And then there was a third one. There's this one too. So I really thought these were pretty. And I'll probably color them and, make them my own. So like I said, I'll link the website. It's sundaygift.com. And the person that created these has tons of different trackers for all different kinds of things, not just like a habit tracker, but but check it out, because they're really pretty. I mean, gosh, it makes me want to do the challenge because the tracker's so pretty. And in another act of self-care, I think I'm gonna go get some pretty markers so I can color all these in, and then I'm gonna color each box in and make it beautiful. maybe do a different color for each task that I decided I'm gonna do. So I'll try to give you an update as I go along with this, see how I do. So what do you think of my goals? So if you were gonna do a challenge like this, what kind of things would you include? I'm actually curious. It took me a while to kind of come up with the 6 things that I'm going to do, but I'm curious what other people would do if they were going to do a challenge like this. So if you've enjoyed this video or found it informative or entertaining, I would appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up and actually consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.